Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophet again. It's our reading through the Tanak class, the 31st of July, 24. Okay. The title, we'll be reading out of the books of we'll be reading out of the book of Chronicles. Start reading that and go as far as we can to get to 2 hours. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can examine and check them out. These videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. They connect dots for you. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay? It would be greatly appreciated. Okay? Our hours of operation are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We're on Prophets of Awakening on YouTube, 7 to 9 Central Time, p.m. And then we have our men's advanced Bible study on Friday nights. It's also from 7 to 9 Central Time, but we're on Clubhouse. And the title of the room is Non-Messianic Conversations. And we have 2 Shabbat classes every Saturday. Shabbat, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. The 1 in the morning is from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. And then we close out the Shabbat with our evening Shabbat from 6 to 7. That's Central Time. Okay? So with that being said, this is a non-Messianic channel. And by that I mean we deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Okay? Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our reading through the Tanakh. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence. We're going to read a prayer, and I have a few current events. And I'll open it up for some Q&A, then we'll start reading out of the Book of Chronicles. Okay? This moment of silence is for Yahweh, our Creator, and His Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts, and all that they're doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come this day, bow down, honoring you and praising you and believing in you. And we thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And we see you now within the Holy Scriptures, oh Lord, and we trust you with all our heart and all our soul. Keep not that silence any longer, but shine forth on our enemies and deliver us with thy great power and thy great glory. Peace be unto you. Okay? So with that being said, I have a couple of current events, and then, like I said, I opened up for some Q&A, and we'll go into the reading out of First Chronicles. Okay.
Towards ditching the US dollar for trade. This is huge because when 2 countries are trading, they are going to either take or give a lot of money. And during that transaction, US dollar has been affecting a lot of African countries because of the exchange rate. And it has crushed so many industries and businesses because of the US dollar just getting stronger against those local currencies. But because of especially these days the conversation about de-dollarization and BRICS, there's a lot of steps that are being taken by African countries towards exchanging or trading using their local currency. According to reports, Tanzania and Russia are working to increase bilateral trade using national currencies. Tanzania's ambassador to Russia, Andre Avetian, indicated that the 2 countries are actively working to increase bilateral trade by using their national currencies for transactions. Banks from both nations have already begun working on it. Russia has been on a mission to ensure that it can trade in Africa without depending on the dollar. This is good news to many countries. And even though Tanzania and Russia are going to join the list, the least has been growing for a while now. Those countries that are opting to trade with other countries using national currencies or even local currencies. It looks like the de-dollarization concept is getting momentum with a lot of African leaders talking about changing their currency, having a united one currency.
I have no time for borders. Why? I have no time for colonialism. They don't have borders in Europe. But when it comes to us, they say, no, you must have borders. Why? The division of Africa is what makes them thrive. They thrive on the division of the African continent. Can you imagine the minerals of DRC combined with the minerals of South Africa and with a new currency based on the minerals? What we can do to the dollar if we become a United States of Africa with our minerals alone? We can collapse the dollar. We can collapse the strong pound that is based on gold, yet they don't have a gold mine. So why do you allow such things?
Yes, there has been heated debates about the de-dollarization in Africa. Experts say the use of the US dollar in African trade comes with a very high cost, and this has been going on for a long time. Mr. President, you have been vocal about the freedom of Africa. Does de-dollarization in Africa sound like another way of the continent's total liberation, bearing in mind that Rwanda is celebrating 29 years of liberation?
Well, there are many things we find ourselves doing or having to deal with that are not ideal, but they are dictated by many factors that we have no immediate control over. Picking de-dollarization as just one aspect of things we have to deal with as a continent to achieve the final goal of de-dollarization. There are other things that back it up that we shouldn't do, including making integration work, making free trade and free movement of people, goods and services work. It's a debate worthwhile having, but not forgetting what needs to be done.
And it's not just African leaders talking about this. It's also China, it's also Brazil, it's also India. The people that are affected are getting tired of being slaves to the dollar. And dollar has been affecting countries' growth and even their power to buy and sell goods. And this is something that is frustrating a lot of people and countries. As you know, BRICS countries have also had this conversation about moving away from the dollar and actually using different ways to trade with one another. The US.
Okay. Any comments on that?
No, sir, not right now.
Okay. Yeah, so every day we notice that more and more people are finding ways to get away from dealing with the dollar. It's losing its power every day, more and more every day. You can see it's losing its power and effect that's on the world. Nobody really want to deal with it. It's gonna come a day where it's gonna be totally collapsed.
See a wider war in the Middle East. This is going to involve Israel, Iran, and Lebanon. We know that there have been two. One was a Hamas official. The second one was a Hezbollah official. Both of their leaders have been killed. This has happened just in the past 24 hours. This is breaking news. I want to break down what's going on and what this means for the United States moving forward. Just so you know, the United States did conduct an attack. They did that just yesterday. Want to address where this was and why this could be a problem. So we'll break all this down in just a moment. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So here's what we know. Israel says top Hezbollah commander found Shakur killed in airstrike in a Beirut suburb. Now, they addressed this. This happened just hours after this. Okay, look at this. It says Hamas political leader Yanaya is assassinated in Iran, plunging the Middle East conflict into a dangerous new phase. Now, what we have heard from many people, you've heard this from other countries, the U.S. officials as well, is that we do not want a wider war. Well, that's exactly what Israel has said before as well. They don't want a wider war, not in the Middle East. What they want is a resolution. They want these conflicts resolved. Problem is, this was just an escalation of those tensions. But keep in mind that just a handful of days ago, 12 children's lives were taken when a missile hit a soccer field. That happened in Israel. Now, I want you to listen to this. Listen to this and let me know what you think.
We do know that the supreme leader of Iran has released a statement this morning vowing to take revenge. He says following this bitter, tragic event, which has taken place within the borders of the Islamic Republic, it is our duty to take revenge. This has major implications for the possibility of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas as the war rages on inside Gaza.
Keep that in mind that they are worried about this ceasefire with Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Now, obviously, it's been going on for some time, but this, I believe, was October 7th was when the attack was first conducted. But the reason why that's such a big deal is because that's where it starts, okay? But now and this has always been the issue, is what if it turned into a wider war? What if it was Israel against Lebanon, Israel against Syria, Israel against Iran? Well, now it is. That's the reason why it's concerning. Let's keep listening.
And we're hearing today from the Qatari Prime Minister speaking out this morning, asking how can mediation succeed when one party assassinates the negotiator on the other side. All of this taking place just hours after the Israelis launched a rare strike in the Lebanese capital of Beirut, taking out a top Hezbollah commander following that rocket attack on Saturday that killed 12 people in the northern Druze village of Majd al-Shams.
So, what you need to understand is right now the United States as well as other countries are taking it to a different level. They are trying to ensure that this conflict doesn't spread and again turn into a wider war. Well, here's what the United States just did. Look at this. It says U.S. carries out strike in Iraq as regional tensions.
We know you have choices when it comes to home improvement products.
It says the United States on Tuesday carried out a strike in Iraq as U.S. officials described as self-defense as regional tensions rose after an Israeli airstrike in Beirut that Israel said killed Hezbollah's most senior commander. That is part of the issue. Is all these countries, all these leaders are saying, no, we don't want tensions to rise. We need to put an end to this conflict. But yet, did we do that? No. Because what experts are saying is that we have to step in. We have to show the world that we mean business. We have to show the world that they cannot just push us around. And it's not just the United States. It's Israel as well. And so many leaders are saying that they applaud what Israel just did because that is showing the world that you cannot just come in and attack Israel and see no repercussions. But listen to this. I want you to hear what this person has to say.
So what kind of a retaliatory move would you expect from Iran at this point?
Well, it's not just Iran, Murray. It's also what's going to happen with Hezbollah, because Hezbollah is probably, when you look at it, the armaments they have is the largest non-state military actor in the world with the amount of rockets and missiles that they can shoot. But, you know, this is one of those things you go to the supreme leader. This is what the United States should do. Be very, very wary of what you are going to do next, because it is very clear that Netanyahu and the Israeli government has said enough is enough, and they will respond accordingly.
Now, he says Benjamin Netanyahu has said enough is enough, and they're going to respond accordingly. He also made it very clear that you can't just go and attack somebody and see nothing in return. But here's the issue, okay? And it comes down to the different groups, all right? So first we got Hezbollah over here in Lebanon. We got Hamas over here in Iran. Now, here's the reason why it's important. Hezbollah has sleeper cells here in the United States, according to multiple officials. Hamas also has sleeper cells within the United States. It's not just the United States, though. They have sleeper cells in other countries as well. And this is the concern, is that at a moment's notice, these people could be activated. And they, again, have been planning attacks against the United States or other countries for years. They have been, updating their attack plans. Okay, so it doesn't matter, just because it's over in the Middle East doesn't matter. It can still affect us here in the United States. Not only that, when we see wars in the Middle East, guess what that does to gas prices? It goes up. What is the main concern right now amongst American people? Inflation, prices. So if you think just because it's in the Middle East, it's not going to impact us, it will. This is actually going to be a big, big move. Okay? This is a major catalyst. This is going to hurt millions of people. Now, the one thing I want to leave you with is this war, the tensions, the conflicts, these aren't over. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Yes, the Hezbollah commander, his life was taken in Lebanon. The Hamas leader, his life was taken in Iran. But what does Iran do next? What does Hezbollah do? What does Hamas do? Well, we're going to find that out soon enough, because my guess is we're not going to see weeks or months in between the attack. It could happen within the next couple of days.
Okay. Anybody heard anything about that? Any comments? Okay, yeah. You got something?
Shalom. I also want to know if Iran is going to do an attack on them with their military forces anytime soon because of this assassination.
On who?
In breaking news, Iran's
on Hezbollah.
Well, that's what he said. They're waiting on. They know it's coming, but they don't know exactly when. And then they don't know what Iran going to do as far as it only comes to America, because they know America is with them. So America is on high alert also, because they don't know what Iran is going to do.
Yes.
Right. So nobody else have anything? I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A before I started reading out of. I'm gonna read out of 2 Chronicles. I'm gonna start in chapter 1. But anybody have any questions, comments about anything they heard on this channel, or in any of the classes they heard something they want some clarity, or they have any questions, dialogue?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah, I'll start reading out of 2 Chronicles. Read as many chapters as I can. We'll read and break down. There we go. Okay. So I'm in 2 Chronicles, chapter 1. It says, And Solomon, the son of David, was strengthened in his kingdom, and the Lord his God was with him and magnified him exceedingly. Then Solomon spake unto all Israel, to the captains of thousands, and to the hundreds, and unto the judges, and unto every governor in all Israel, the chief of the fathers. So Solomon and all the congregation with him went to the high place that was at Gibeon, for there was the tabernacle of the congregation of God, which Moses, the servant of, God, of the Lord, had made in the wilderness. But the ark of God had David brought up from Kiriath Jearim to the place which David had prepared for it, for he had pitched a tent for it at Jerusalem. Moreover, the brazen altar that Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of had made, he put before the tabernacle of the Lord. And Solomon and the congregation sought unto it. And Solomon went up thither to the brazen altar before the Lord, which was at the tabernacle of the congregation, and offered 1,000 burnt offerings upon it. And that night did God appear unto Solomon, and said unto him, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto God, Thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. Now, O Lord God, let thy promise unto David my father be established. For thou hast made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in a multitude. Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people, for who can judge thy people that is so great. And God said to Solomon, Because this was in thine heart, and thou hast not asked riches, wealth, or honor, nor the life of thine enemy, neither yet hast thou asked for long life, but hast asked for wisdom and knowledge for thyself, that thou mayest judge my people, over whom I have made thee king. Wisdom and knowledge is granted unto thee, and I will give thee the riches and the wealth and the honor, such as none of the kings have had that have been before thee. Neither shall there any, neither shall there any after thee have the like. Then Solomon came from his journey to the high place that was at Gibeon to Jerusalem, from before the tabernacle of the congregation, and he reigned over Israel. And Solomon gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, which he placed in the chariots, chariot cities, and with the king at Jerusalem. And the king made silver and gold at Jerusalem as plenteous as stones, and cedar trees made he as the sycamore trees that are in the vale for abundance. And Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt, and linen yarn, and the king's merchants received the linen yarn at a price. And they fetched up and brought forth out of Egypt a chariot for 600 shekels of silver, and a horse for 150. And so brought they out horses for all the kings of they brought out horses for all the kings of the Hittites and for the kings of Syria by their means. Okay, so this was chapter 1 of First Chronicles. So I want to shine light on a few things. So in verse 5, you see that it says, Moreover, the brazen altar that Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of had made, and he put before the tabernacle of the Lord, and Solomon and the congregation sought unto it. So there's a lot going on right here. I want to go in on it. So first of all, you ever seen the movie the movie with the chariots and all that racing in there? It's the same If you watch the last movie they made on you'll see it's in Jerusalem. I don't know if anybody's seen it or check it out, but it's the same right here, the same one in the movies. Hollywood movie by with the chariot races. Same guy. Just wanted to shine light on that. But notice that where this altar is at, right here, this brazen altar that David brought, it's in Gibeon, which is in a high place in the mountains, right? So you say, well, why are you telling me that? Well, before the Israelites came there, when you understand who back at the Tower of Babel, when the Most High destroyed the Tower of Babel, then he divided the earth up by these angels, 70 angels. So these men, like the Amorites and the Kenites, all them people, the Horites, these giants, they going up in these mountains and they making sacrifices, human sacrifices to their father, which is angels. So they got altars all up, and that's the high places. That's what got Israel in trouble. They was going up in the high places, worshiping these angels, making sacrifices to them. But notice Israel got a high place too. Let me read it. It says, I'll start at verse 1. Solomon, the son of David, was strengthened in his kingdom, and the Lord his God was with him, and he magnified him exceedingly. Then Solomon spake unto all Israel, to the captains of thousands and the hundreds, and to the judges, and to every governor in all Israel, and the chief of the fathers. So Solomon and all the congregation with him went to the high place. See that? That's up in the mountains. So Israel is God, is an angel that's over them. He up in the mountains. He on the mountain, Mount Zion, where he dwell at. So he says, in the high places, there was a Gibeon, or there was the tabernacle of the congregation of God, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, had made. This is the tabernacle in the wilderness that they made before Solomon built his temple. Then verse 4, but the ark of God had David brought up from Kiriath to the place which David had prepared, prepared for it, for he had pitched a tent for it at Jerusalem. Moreover, the brazen altar that Bezalel, the son of Uriah, son of Hur, had made, he put before the tabernacle of the Lord, and Solomon and the congregation saw unto it. So it was up in the mountains too, in a high place. So when you understand what's going on, these angels, the earth was divided up by these angels. Israel, that's why he's saying that his inheritance, he keeps telling the Israelites, his inheritance. So he inherited that. So let's look at who this angel is anyway, for people that don't know. So you go to Daniel right quick, right? And you're going to see who it is. Go to Daniel chapter 10. And then Gabriel is talking to Daniel, okay? And he tells Daniel in chapter 10, start at verse 19. It's Gabriel talking to Daniel. He says, O man, greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee. Be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened and said, let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. This is Daniel talking to Gabriel. Then said he, Gabriel, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia. See that? The prince is the same as son. So when you go to Genesis chapter 6, the sons of God, that's angels. So son, a prince is a son. So it says right here, then said he, verse 20, then said he, Know thou wherefore I come unto thee. Right? This angel came to David, Daniel. And now I will return and fight with the prince of Persia. This is a fallen angel that received the region of Persia back at the Tower of Babel. And when I'm gone forth, lo, prince of Greece, this is the angel, the fallen angel that's over Greece. Then get to 21. But Gabriel talking. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth. There is none that holy with me in these things, but Michael, your prince. So Michael, this is the angel that's over Israel. Right here. This is who inherited Israel. He's talking to Daniel. Daniel Israelite, and Gabriel is our angel, the Holy One. And he tells Daniel, Michael, it's a book in heaven that we're looking at. It's only one other angel that's looking at this book with me is Michael, and he's your prince. He's the prince over Israel. Just like you got a prince over in chapter 20, in verse 20, you got a prince over Persia, and you got a prince over Greece. Michael the prince, the the strong one, the power that's over Israel. This is who Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob dealing with. That's who protecting them. Right? That's why we go to Genesis right quick. We go to Genesis chapter 6. Genesis 48 right quick. These just examples to line you out, connect dots for you. So we go to Genesis chapter 48. Like I say, this stuff might sound foreign to you, but I'm gonna connect the dots. So Jacob is blessing Joseph's 2 sons that's in Egypt. And we're gonna pick it up in verse 12, 48 and 12. Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand, and toward Israel's, which is Jacob, left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, brought them near unto him. And Israel stretched out his hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his hand and his left hand upon Manasseh, Joseph's head, guiding his hand wittily, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph, Jacob, blessed Joseph. He said, God, I told you what they did with this word God. God, before whom my father Abraham, so we're going to see what this God is. Before whom my father Abraham and Isaac did walk. So go back while we right here, we might as well go all the way in. So somebody came in the cool of the day walking, talking to Adam. So same way right here. Before whom my father Abraham and Isaac did walk. The God who fed me all my life long unto this day. Then verse 16 tell you, the angel. See that? So this God is an angel. The angel which redeemed me from all evil. Bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, in the name of my father Abraham, Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in earth. So we see right here, precept upon precept, is an angel. Can't get out of it. It's an angel that's over there, they dealing with it. So not only that, we notice that the same angel told Abraham that he was going to multiply him. He's going to multiply his seed like the sands of the sea, right? So let's go back to where we was at in 2 Chronicles, chapter 1. So in 2 Chronicles, chapter 1, I'm going to start at verse 6. And Solomon went up thither to the brazen altar before the Lord, which was at the tabernacle of the congregation, and he offered 1,000 burnt offerings upon it. So right here, notice they up in a high place, up in the mountains, because they dealing with an angel, just like the other nations are. But they sacrificing animals. clean animals. Because these are fallen angels, got the people sacrificing to them humans. They require blood sacrifice. So let that firm mate. You can get to the New Testament. Our forefathers, the same God that you're trying to make you think is in the New Testament, he don't require no human blood. You require animals, clean animals, sacrifices, bulls, rams, and goats. You don't require no. All this time, all through the Old Testament, he required animals, sacrifices, clean animals. Then all of a sudden, now he want his son to shed his blood. Let that firm mate. Anyway, so verse 7 says, in that night, did God, we know who the God is. I showed you who the God is. And that night did God appear unto Solomon. See that? Appear unto Solomon. And he said unto him, ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto God, right? So our forefathers wasn't in the dark like we are. Solomon understood everything. He had the books and the knowledge that had been passed on to him. So notice what he says in verse 7. In that night, did God appear unto Solomon and said unto him. So he talking to him face to face. Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto God, thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. Now, O Lord God, let thy promise unto David my father be established. For thou hast made me king over a people. Look here, right here. This is what he promised Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. It says, thou hast made me a king over a people like the dust of the earth in a multitude. So what we're looking at is the promises that he was going to multiply Abraham's seed and Jacob's seed and Isaac's seed. It's been fulfilled right here. So he says, Solomon tell him, like I said, these men talking to angels. No other race of men doing that. So he says, verse 8, Solomon said unto God, thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. Now, O Lord God, let thy promise unto to David my father be established. For thou hast made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in a multitude. That's what he promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what promise is Solomon talking about? Let's go to 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 7. Okay. Second Samuel chapter 7. Okay, we'll start at verse 8. This is the Lord sent Nathan to tell David this. It's 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 8. Now therefore, so shall I say unto my servant David. This was given to the Lord of hosts gave this to Nathan to tell David. Now therefore, so shall thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts. See that? It's the title. Michael is his name, but he's the Lord over the Most High's hosts, right? Thus says the Lord of hosts, I took thee from a sheepcote, from following sheep, to be ruler over my people. See that? My people. Same over here with David in 2 Chronicles. And I was with thee wheresoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name, like to the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more aforetime. So what are you talking about? So I told you in the Tower of Babel, the earth was divided up during the time of Peleg and Joktan. The earth was divided up by these 70 angels. Michael received Canaan, Zion. So that's who went to Egypt. got the Israelites. That's how he inherited them. He went to Israel, to Egypt, delivered them out of Egypt, brought them back to the land what was given to him. Right here, like he said. Look at verse 10. 2 Samuel, verse 7. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people, Israel. What place? The place the Yahweh gave. Mount Zion, land of Canaan, where Garden of Eden was at. So he says, moreover, I will appoint a place for my people, Israel. I will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before times. Then here go the covenant that Solomon was talking about. And since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and I have caused thee to rest from all thy enemies, also the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee a house. Now here you go. And here go the covenant that Solomon talking referring to. And when thy days be fulfilled, when David died, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build me a house for my name. I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever, and I will be his father, because David gonna be dead, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, with the stripes of the children of men. So what we reading over here is that chapter 7 of 2 Samuel being fulfilled right here. When David tell him, let's get it. When David says in verse 7, verse 8, and Solomon said unto God, to the Lord of hosts, thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. That's right here. He's fulfilling that. He's fulfilling 2 Samuel chapter 7. He's the son that that the Lord told David, gonna build him a house. Okay? So one more place I want to deal with. Okay, yeah. So it says in verse 14 of Second Chronicles chapter 1, verse 14. Samuel gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had thousands and 400 chariots and 1,200 horsemen, which he had placed in the chariot cities and with the king at Jerusalem. And the king made silver and gold at Jerusalem as pennies as stone, and cedar trees made he as the sycamore trees that are in the vale for abundance. So right here, so what vale? Remember when the spies went into the land of Canaan, the size of the fruit, one cluster of grapes they had 2 men that carried on the stage and put it on their shoulders. That's how big one cluster of grape was. So we can imagine how big the plums and the apples and all that was, and also how big the trees was. So we know the size of a cedar tree nowadays. So if an apple tree got apples this big on it, imagine how big the apple tree was. So imagine how big the cedar trees was. Okay, we ain't looking at that. So anyway, it says the sycamore trees. I'm just painting the picture for you. So it says the sycamore trees that are in the vale for abundance. So what vale? So we know the apples is huge, the grapes are huge, the trees are huge. So watch this. In Genesis chapter 14. Okay, let's look at it. Genesis chapter 14. So this is start out verse 1. And it came to pass in the days of Amaphal, king of Shinar. So in case you haven't heard that before, I got a class on it. This is Nimrod. Everybody think Nimrod got killed at the Tower of Babel after he had built the Tower of Babel, and the angels came down and judged the Tower of Babel, that Nimrod was killed. He wasn't. This him right here. And it came to pass in the days of Ormaphal, king of Shinar. Nimrod was king of Shinar. This same guy. Just Google it. Don't take my word for it. Google this Ormaphal. You'll find out it's Nimrod. Okay, and so Nimrod's still alive, and he picked back up. He came back and picked back up what he had started. It's just that he didn't build no tower no more because the angels that came down to judge that. But anyway, it says, verse 2, and these made war with Berkah, king of Sodom, and with Bathsheba, king of Gomorrah. I'm butchering these names. Shinad, king of Adamah, and Shimber, king of Zebulun, and the king of Bela, which is in Zor. Now here we go, verse 3. All these were joined together in the veil. They go to veil right here. Zidon, which is in the Salt Sea. Giants all over that place. The veil is what giants said. So you shouldn't be surprised because we see how big the damn grapes is. The fruit is. We see how big the trees are. So the people there, like the spies told them, the people was graded. We made us look like grasshoppers. That was in the veil that Solomon talked about over here. Notice this what he say. I'm in 2 Chronicles. Let me get it. Yeah. Okay. Lost the verse. But it says, anybody know what that verse is? I lost it. In 2 Chronicles. So,
Was it 8?
yeah, here you go. 15. And the king made silver and gold at Jerusalem, as plenteous as stones and cedar trees. So notice what I just told you. Cedar trees made he as a sycamore tree. So cedar trees are hard to come by because of the wood, but sycamore trees are all over the place. But he's telling you right here, the cedar trees, Solomon made gold and silver. It wasn't nothing. They're kicking gold and silver around in Jerusalem. He says, and cedar trees made he as sycamore trees. So these high dollar trees, big ass sycamore trees, cedar trees, which Solomon had so many of them, they was in abundance just like a sycamore tree. You can find a sycamore tree anywhere. So anyway, it says that, see, these sycamore trees that are in the veil for abundance. So they're in the same place where these big ass grapes at, same place where all these apple trees, everything is huge. Where these giants at, same place. Just wanted to paint that picture for you. Anybody got any comments on chapter 1?
No comments.
Okay. Let's see what this brother talking about. Yeah, so brother says that Solomon's ark in my sefer, it doesn't say Lord of Hosts. Okay, well, when did the sefer come about? Sefer is Johnny come lately. If they hook with the Tanak way back, turn it into translated to English with the to English with the Septuagint. Come on, it wouldn't be no Lord of Hosts in there nowhere. Yeah, I want you to know who Lord of Hosts is. Okay, so I'm in 2 Chronicles chapter 2 verse. I'm in 2 Chronicles chapter 2. Okay, it says, and Solomon determined to build a house for the name of the Lord, and a house for the kingdom. And Solomon told, so this is another thing that's going over so many people's head. Notice who the house he want to build for. If you go to the book of Enoch, which is only common sense, right? Thinking like a Hebrew, Yahweh in heaven, he got a house in heaven. Enoch tell you, he got a house in heaven it's made out of crystal. And it's fire all around. You can't go only those seven angels can go in and out of it. But it's got millions and millions of angels around it. But those seven holy angels don't want to go in there. So this ain't Yahweh's house. Yahweh got a house in heaven. So look what it says. Chapter 2, verse 1. Solomon determined to build a house for the name of the Lord. See that? I just showed you this angel that they dealing with. Yahweh already got a house in heaven. It says, and Solomon told out 70,000 men and to bear the burden, and 80,000 to hew in the mountains, and 3,600 to oversee them. And Solomon sent to Hiram, the king of Tyre, saying, as thou didst deal with David my father, and didst send him cedars to build him a house to dwell therein, even so deal with me. So here we go right here. This answer what I just showed you. See over here in verse 15, chapter 1, and the king made Solomon. And Solomon made silver and gold at Jerusalem as plenty as that stone. So silver and gold, just like you got rocks and stones all over the place, that's how the gold was. Because of the Lord of hosts. They promised him he's gonna be more richer than any king ever lived. But notice what it says after that. And cedar trees made he as sycamore trees that are in the veil veil for abundance. So where he getting all these sycamore trees from? Right here. Verse 2nd chapter, 2 Samuel chapter 2 says, and Solomon sent to Hiram, verse 3, in Tyre, king of Tyre, saying, as thou didst deal with David my father, and didst send him cedars. See that? The king of Tyre is a giant too. So he says, didn't deal with him, with my father, and sent him cedars to build him a house to dwell therein. Even so deal with me. So this king of Tyre, he's sending cedar trees to Solomon by the truckload. That's why so many cedar trees in Jerusalem. Okay, verse 4. Behold, I build a house to the name of the Lord my God, to dedicate it to him, and to burn before him sweet incense, and for the continual showbread, and for the burnt offerings morning and evening. See that? On the Sabbath, and on the new moon, and on the solemn feast of the Lord our God. This is in the ordinance forever to Israel. So let's look at this. Right, this is for JC lovers. So we know when you go to Leviticus and you look at all the prophets, how that the Lord was dealing with them, and he tells them, especially with Moses, what they had to do to deal with him. They had to make burnt offerings, sacrifices to him. He ain't require no human blood at all. So how in the hell is he gonna do away with that? If that's the way to deal with him, how you gonna deal with how today we ain't doing it? This how they dealt with him. Look what he says in verse 4. Behold, I build a house to the name of the Lord my God, to the Lord of hosts, Michael. Let's just make it out, make it plain. To dedicate it to him, and to burn before him sweet incense, and for a continual showbread, and for the burnt offerings morning and evening on the Sabbath day, and on the new moon, and on the solemn feast of the Lord of our God. This is an ordinance forever in Israel. Now you know why we ain't dealing with it. How we ended up over here. So he cast us off. And all this burning to show all of these sacrifices that they were doing, they can't do it no more. He ain't there. Okay? As long as he there, this is what they got to do right here. So when the time comes for us to leave here and go back to our homeland, this is what all this pick right back up. It don't add up. It don't add up with the New Testament. As long as he there, this is what they got to do. Continuously. The oblations. That's where Gabriel came to. That's what Daniel was doing when Gabriel came to him. He said Gabriel came to him in the evening oblation. Right here, what Solomon talking about. Verse 5. This 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 5. And the house which I built is great, for great is our God, above all gods. See that? Gods, lowercase. The same gods that the serpent was talking to Eve about in Genesis. God doeth know in the day that you eat thereof, you will be as gods, as angels. Okay? Verse 6. But who is able to build him a house, seeing the heavens and the heavens of heaven cannot contain him? Who am I then that I should build him a house, save only to burn sacrifices before him? See that? Save only. The only reason I'm building this house is to burn sacrifices to him. So how in the hell is he going to tell somebody to come and die and stop the burnt offering? That's a joke. See that? Send me now, therefore, a man cunning to work in gold and in silver and in brass and in iron and in purple and crimson and blue, that can skill to grave the cunning men that are with me in Judah and in Jerusalem, whom David my father did provide. Send me also cedar trees, fir trees, algum trees out of Lebanon, for I know that thy servants can skill to cut timber in Lebanon, and behold, my servants shall be with thy servants, even to prepare me timber in abundance for the house which I am about to build shall be wonderful and great. And behold, I will give to thy servants the hewers that cut timber, 20,000 measures of beaten wheat, and 20,000 measures of barley, and 20,000 baths of wine, and 20,000 baths of oil. Then Hiram, the king of Tyre, answered in writing, which he sent to Solomon, because the Lord had loved his people, he had made thee king over them. Hiram said, moreover, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, that made heavens and the earth, who have given to David, the king, as a wise son, endowed with prudence and understanding, that might build a house for the Lord and a house for his kingdom. And now I have sent a cunning man, endowed with understanding of Herman, my father, the sons of a woman of the daughter of Dan, and his father was a man of Tyre, skillful to work in gold and in silver and in brass and in iron and in stone and in timber and in purple and in blue and in fine linen and in crimson. Also to grave many of gravings and to find out every device which shall be put to him with the cunning men and with the cunning men of my Lord David, thy father. Now therefore the wheat and the barley, the oil, the wine, which my Lord hath spoken of, let him send unto his servant, and we will cut wood out of Lebanon as much as thou should need, and we will bring it to thee in floats by the sea to Joppa, and thou shalt carry it up to Jerusalem. So this how Solomon made cedar trees in abundance in Israel right here. We tell you how they doing it. Verse 15. Now therefore the wheat and the barley, the oil and the wine which my Lord hath spoken of, let him send it unto thy servants, and we will cut wood. You go, this is cedar trees. We will cut wood out of Lebanon as much as thou shalt need, and we will bring it to thee. And this is how they're gonna do it. Floats by the sea, floated down the sea to Jopta, and thou shalt carry it from Jopta up to Jerusalem. And Solomon numbered all the strangers that were in the land of Israel after he had numbered wherewith David his father had numbered them, and they were found 150,000 and 3,600. And he set 310,000 of them to be bearers of burdens, and 80,000 to be hewers in the mountains, and 3,600 overseers to set the people to work. Okay, any questions on chapter 2? Saints, chapter 2.
Shalom. So temple that Solomon was building was going to be exactly like the one David did?
David didn't build one. Solomon built it.
The first temple. Is it going to be?
Solomon built the first temple.
Oh, okay. He says Solomon, like his father did. Give him the same as my father. So
yeah. You got to go back to 2 Samuel. Yeah, 2 Samuel. Okay, let me get it. Chapter 7. So you see right here in chapter 7, verse 1. And it came to pass when King David sat in his house. So we talking about David's house. So King of Tyre sent David all the lump timber and the cedar wood he needs to build him a house. See that?
Yes, sir.
So it says, came to pass when King David was in his house. See now, that's why David want to build a Lord house. Because he knows what the Lord had done for him. And he's sitting there in this big old magnificent house, but he want to build a Lord host house. So he says, and the Lord, he says, and it came to pass when the king sat in his house, David had a house, and the Lord had given him rest round about from all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, see now, I dwell in a house of cedar. See that cedar? But the ark of God dwelleth within curtains. So now he want to build a house for the God, for the Lord, for the Lord of God, the God of Israel.
Oh, yes.
He got right. So, but he can't, because he got blood on his hands. So the Lord told him, Solomon gonna build it. So Solomon, the verse that you was talking about, Solomon is telling the king of Tyre that sent the cedar to David, send it to me for what I'm getting ready to do. The same way you did with David, do it for me.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
I see it.
Anybody else got anything? Okay. I'll read a couple more chapters. Chapter 3 says, Solomon begins the temple. Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David, his father, in the place that David had prepared in the threshing floor for Ornan the Jebusite. And he began to build in the second day of the second month in the 4th year of his reign. Now these are the things wherein Solomon was instructed for the building of the house of God. The length by cubits after the first measure was 80 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits. So right here, this is what a lot of people don't understand too. It says David was given in a vision the blueprint on how to build a house. So it says right here, verse 3, these are the things wherein Solomon was instructed for the building of the house of God. So David instructed him before he passed away. That's why he was able to tell the king of Tyre what to do, because David had told him what to do. So verse 4, and the porch that was in the front of the house, the length of it was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits, and the height was 120, and he overlaid it with pure gold. So right here, like I don't know if I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, or maybe been a couple of days ago, but when they spoiled the Egyptians, right? This is how they was able to do this right here. See, he says, verse 4, and the porch that was in the front of the house, the length of it was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits, and the height was 120 cubits, and he overlaid it within with pure gold. They got gold out of Egypt, and they spoiled the Egyptians. So, like I said before, which is what Abraham had prophesied to them in Genesis 15. Not over here in America. They went into Egypt, and they came out of Egypt with great substance. That great substance they used to build a house of God with. Okay? And so anyway, verse 5 says, and the greater house, he sealed it with fir trees, and which he overlaid with the fine gold. And he set thereon palm trees and chains, and he garnished the house with precious stones for the beauty. And the gold was gold of Pergam. He overlaid also the house, the beams, the posts, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold. So the whole house, all these cedar trees that they bringing in, cutting up, all of it got overlaid with gold. So imagine how much gold they had. So 8, and he made the most holy house. That's the holy place, the holy of holies. The length thereof was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits, and he overlaid it with fine gold, amounting to 600 talents. And the weight of the nails were 50 shekels of gold. The nails were made out of gold. And he overlaid the upper chambers with gold. And in the most holy house, he made 2 cherubim of image work and overlaid them with gold. And the wings of the cherubim were 20 cubits long. One wing of one cherubim was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house. And the other wing was likewise 5 cubits, reaching to the wing of the other cherubim. And the one wing of the outer cherubim was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house. And the other wing was 5 cubits also, joining to the wing of the other cherubim. The wings of these cherubim spread themselves forth 20 cubits, and they stood on their feet, and their faces were inward. And he made the veil of blue and purple and crimson and fine linen and wrought cherubim thereon. So let me bring this to life right here. So this is the Holy of Holies. So we got 2 cherubs, huge cherubim. They wings reach across the whole length of the temple. So imagine how that looked. But this the mercy seat. This is what the ark is. The ark is in between these two angels right here. So once a year, like I was telling you about, the high priest and the king got to go in there, and the Lord of hosts, not Yahweh, comes down in between those 2 cherubims on that mercy seat with the ark is, and once a year. So let me give you two examples of that. He just described it right here, but I'll give you examples of put this in order. So if you go to Zechariah, right? You go to Zechariah chapter 10. Okay. No, chapter 4. My bad. Zechariah chapter 4. Okay. This was taking place in the same place where we were just reading that Solomon was talking about, that he overlaid with gold. and these two cherubims. It's the same place right here in chapter 4. I'm going to read it. So it says, and the angel that talked with me came again and waked me as a man that is waking out of his sleep. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick. So this candlestick is a menorah that's inside this building, inside this Holy of Holies, where these two angels at. Candlestick, all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of and 6 lamps. This is the menorah. There are seven pipes to the 7 lamps, which are upon the top thereof, and 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side. This is the king and the high priest inside the Holy of Holies. So I answered and spake unto him. So we're gonna keep going. We'll bypass this. Go to 11. Then I answered, and I said unto him, what are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side? So they're in the Holy of Holies. And I just showed you, those 2 is the king on one side and the high priest on the other side. Then verse 12, I answered again and said unto him, what be these 2 olive branches which through the golden pipes empty the golden oil out to themselves? The angel that's talking with him, and he answered me, talking to Zechariah, and said, knowest thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then 14 is your answer. Then said he, these are the 2 anointed ones, right here, messiahs. That's all anointed one means. They're anointed with all, right? These are the 2 anointed ones. Now check it out. This is my point. That stand before the Lord of the whole earth. This is the Lord of hosts. So they in the Holy of Holies, where these 2 angels at, where the mercy seat at, and the Lord of hosts come down on top of these mercy seat. They dealing with the Lord of the whole earth once a year. Not Yahweh. This ain't Yahweh house. This is the Lord of hosts house. And here go the other one right here. If that wasn't good enough for you, you go to the other one. I'm in Ezekiel. Okay. I'm in Ezekiel. Let me get it. Chapter 9. Ezekiel chapter 9. Right? So here you go. I read this all the time, but I'm just shining a little more light on it than normal. So chapter 9 of Ezekiel, he cried also in my ear. So it's Ezekiel, right? And he talked to the angel. He cried also in my ears with a loud voice saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, every man with a strong weapon in his hand, right? Verse 2, behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lied toward the north, and every man with a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen and with a writer's inkhorn by his side, and he went in and stood beside the brazen altar. So this is the brazen altar in the temple. So these ain't no men, regular men. These angels. And when you go to the book of Enoch, we know we created 7 holy ones. So right here we see 6 of them, right? Now watch where the 7th one at. Now here you go. Verse 3. And the glory of the God of Israel was gone up from the cherubim, from the 2 cherubim. See that? That we just read about over there in 2 Chronicles. From the cherubim whereupon he was. So this is the God that's over Israel. This is on top of the mercy seat. Not Yahweh, and the damn show ain't Jesus. So it says, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house, and he called unto the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn in his hand, right? And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the forehead of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So anyway, there go your examples right there. Okay. Is there something? So I'm back over here. Somebody got a question? Comment?
Well, I was also saying, yes, that is something that, as you describe it, I can imagine how it looked. And then
Right.
he was in the midst of it or above. Yes, sir.
Right. So I'm back in 2 Chronicles chapter 3, verse 15. It says, also he made before the house 2 pillars of 30 and 5 cubits high, and the capitals that were on the top of each of them were 5 cubits. And he made chains, as in an oracle, and he put them on the heads of the pillars, and made 100 pomegranates, and put them on the chains. And he reared up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand and the other on the left. And he called the name of that on the right Jachin, and the other he called Boaz. So these 2 pillars in front of the temple. Okay, let me see. So that's it. That was chapter 3. All right, I'll read chapter 4 and we'll close out. Okay, it's the furnishings in the temple. Moreover, he made an altar of brass, 20 cubits in length thereof, and 20 cubits the breadth thereof, and 10 cubits the height thereof. Also he made a molten sea of 10 cubits from brim to brim, round in compass, and 5 cubits height thereof, and a line of 30 cubits did compass it round about. And under it was the similitude of oxen, which did compass it about, round about. 10 in a cubit, compassing the sea round about. 2 rows of oxen were cast. When it was cast, it stood upon 12 oxen, 3 looking toward the north, 3 toward the west, and 3 toward the south, and 3 looking toward the east. And the sea was set above upon them, and all their hinder parts were inward, and the thickness of it was as the hand's breadth, and the brim of it was like the work of a brim of a cup, with the flowers of lilies, and it received and held 3,000 baths. So it's water, okay, liquid. He made also 10 lavers, and put 5 on the right hand and 5 on the left, to wash in them such things as they offered for the burnt offerings. They washed in them, but the sea was for the priest to wash in. And he made 10 candlesticks of gold according to their form, and set them in the temple, 5 on the right hand and 5 on the left. He made also 10 tables, and placed them in the temple, 5 on the right and 5 on the left. And he made 100 basins of gold. Furthermore, he made the court of the priest, and the great court, and the doors of the court, and overlaid the doors of them with brass. And he set the sea on the right hand of the each end over against the south. And Hiram made the pots and the shovels and the basins, and Hiram finished the work. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, so it says, verse 12, I'll start there. This is 2 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 12. To wit, 2 pillars on the pommels, and the captors which were on the top of the 2 pillars, and the 2 reeds to the cover of the 2 pommels of captors which were on the top of the pillars, and 400 pomegranates on the 2 reeds, 2 rows of pomegranates on each reed to cover the 2 pommels of the captors which were upon the pillars. He made also bases, and labor made he upon the bases, 1 seat and 12 oxen under it, the pots also, and the shovels, okay, and the fresh ships, and all their instruments did Hiram his father make to King Solomon for the house of the Lord of bright brass. In the plains of Jordan did the king cast them in the clay ground between Sukkah and Zerdath. Thus Solomon made all these vessels in great abundance, for the weight of the brass could not be found out. So right here, what you're looking at is this all the stuff that what we read right here that was made right here by Hiram and his men. This is what was taken to Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. Verse 19. And Solomon made all the vessels that were for the house of God, the golden altar, also the tables wherein the showbread was set, moreover, the candlesticks with their lamps, that they should burn after the manner before the oracle of pure gold, and the flowers, and the lamps, and the tongues made he of gold, and that of perfect gold, and the snuffers, and the basins, and the spoons, and the censers of pure gold, and the entry of the house, and the inner doors thereof for the most holy place, and the doors of the house of the temple were of gold. So I'm gonna stop right there. That was chapter 4. Any comments or questions? So what I'll do is next week we'll start reading some more. Okay?
Yes, sir. The tank, I mean the thing that they made was a big thing to hold the water for washing after
Right.
then that, or how you describe it, it was so huge that yes, it held a lot of water in it. The way it's being described, all these things are very huge, and to have pure gold of forks, spoons, and bowls, and then you said
Okay.
it's amazing. It sounds really nice.
Okay. Let me see what this says right here. It says, so did Yahweh take the Israelites into the Holy Land, or Michael. I'm thinking Michael, since Yahweh said he was angry and ready to destroy them. Right. Well, it's when you understand how everything was created, how it all went out in the beginning. I mean, you have to go to the Book of Enoch, and you have to understand. You got to read the Book of Enoch the same way that you read the Tanak. They didn't hoodwink us to have doubt about what's going on with the Book of Enoch, but you have to read the Book of Enoch just like you reading Ezekiel and Jeremiah and all them, because Enoch was a prophet. So when you see what he told us, that he created these 7 angels in the very beginning, they do his bidding. The first one he created was Michael, El. He's the one over the 7. That's the Lord of hosts. So the Lord of hosts is the one that's angry with Israel. He's the one that's over Israel. He's the one that commanded Israel and God. Let me read this verse right quick. I don't know how long you've been dealing with this channel, but go to Exodus. So Yahweh came down, if I'm not mistaken, twice in the script in the Tanakh. He came down on Mount Sinai, and then he came down on Mount Sinai, and then he came down in Ezekiel, chapter 1. So when you go to Exodus chapter 23, and the setting is the Lord hosted came down on Mount Sinai, Moses there, and Yahweh came down on Mount Sinai. And in 23 and 20, he tell him, he set the stage of what's actually going on. He says in verse 20, behold, telling Moses, behold, I sent an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him. So he telling Moses and the Israelites, beware this angel. I'm gonna leave. I came down here for a minute, but I'm going back up. Beware this angel, obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. So this who getting angry, because he's spewing out the knowledge. He's the one giving them the laws and statutes. And then when they don't keep them, he the one just he the judge. He got to discipline them. And so another example, another place to see this, what I'm talking about, is to go to Zechariah again. Go back to Zechariah. And let me get it. Zechariah chapter 3. So this is when they're getting ready to leave Babylon, and he has to identify the king and the high priest in order for him to go back. He got to identify the seed out of Aaron, and he got to identify the seed out of David. So he's dealing with the seed of Aaron, the high priest Joshua. And I'm in chapter 3, verse 1. He showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before, see that? The angel of the Lord, and Satan standing on his right hand to resist him. Now here you go. And the Lord said, Yahweh ain't there, Jesus ain't there, it's an angel there. So this is who the Lord is. And the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuked thee, even the Lord that have, see that? He tell you who he is. The Lord that have chosen Jerusalem rebuked thee. Is not this brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with a filthy garment, and he stood before the angel. He ain't standing before Jesus. He ain't standing before Yahweh. He's standing before this angel. Verse 4. And he answered and spake unto those that stood by. That's the other 6 that stood before him, saying, take away the filthy garment from him, and unto him. Just check out what this angel do. And unto him he said, behold, the angel said, behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with a change of raiment. This is the power that the angel willing. This is the one that gets, when Israel don't do right, he get angry and bring judgment. This the judge. And once you get that in your head, it just open up the rest of the scriptures. You see it all through the scriptures. Okay. Yeah, it's all good, bro. Let me see what you're talking about. Yeah, you gotta get a book of Enoch, bro. You gotta get you one, and you gotta read it. You know, because it's like, well, our forefathers, when you start talking about Abraham and all of them, they was reading the book of Enoch. There wasn't no such thing as no Bible. They was reading the book of Enoch. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have anything before we go?
No, I'm good, bro.
Oh, somebody else say something? Okay. Yeah. So you good, D-Ray?
Regulating your temperature.
I'm good, boss.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I can't stress enough the importance of having a reliable water supply. Whether it's for everyday use or in preparation for emergencies, water should always be your top priority. So let's not take water for granted.
Somebody got their mic on. Okay. So with that being said, I want to say shalom. I'll see y'all tomorrow for our Women's Advanced Bible Study. The men can come in through the YouTube. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Has been both vilified and celebrated